Please stand by as we get ready to launch another episode of this reality radio Cafecast with your host and my husband, Denny J, K5DCC.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff.
Falcon 9 is pushing downrange.
Now grab your glass and get ready to fill it up with some radio on the rocks.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Welcome everybody to the Digicom Cafe. We have a very special guest tonight, Emma, who's a member of our yacht group. That's the Young Amateurs Communications ham team, which, by the way, is running their net right now as we speak. And we've got Emma's father, Wes, here with us. They are a homeschool family, and right now they're located in their treehouse. And we're located in our virtual cafe here in the beautiful Ozarks of Northwest Arkansas. And I have with me my co-host, Professor Jim Brown, retired Dean of Indiana University. Welcome, Jim. I see you've had some time to get to know our guests already.
I have. I've even toured the treehouse and told some stories while we were waiting to go live.
Well, very good. Well, we know you're full of stories, but tonight we're going to let you just take a back seat.
Oh, no.
And we're going to listen to some interesting stories from Emma, who is 12 years old and a fairly recent amateur radio operator, licensed as a technician, which is the lowest level right now. But boy, she is going gung-ho. I understand you even run your own nets already.
I do. I got my license when I was 8, so I've been doing it for 4 years already. And I have a net, the after school net at 5:30 every Monday. Me and my co-host Sabrina, WSAEMT, trade off duties so we don't have to do it every single time.
And that's on our
Go ahead.
Oh, that's on our in Michigan. There is a link system, the W8IRA link system, and so she does it on Mondays at 5:30 on the link system. So kind of just it kind of happened as a, I think there was they have like a noontime net, and the question was, at the topic of the day was, how do we get kids involved? And after a lot of different ideas were shared,
someone said, let's make a net. And I just, as like a little, an idea, I said, maybe I could be a net control. And Daddy took off with that. So,
so yeah.
So how many people typically sign into the net on a Monday?
It varies very much. One time we only got like 6 check-ins. And another time we got like 20. So it's a broad range of check-ins.
We usually get, because it's dedicated to kids, so we usually get about 3 or 4 kids. Aside, I mean, there's Sabrina and Emma, but then there's a few other ones that will check in. Occasionally, we'll get a few from out of state via Echollink. That's through the yacht connection. And then, of course, we usually go, the first part of the net is dedicated to students, we say.
Students with their own license. And then we have students who are third party. You have to make sure you have the approval of the other person that you're using the call sign, though, obviously. And then we have everybody else. And usually that's the majority of the check-ins is everybody else.
Yep. And we get a decent number of adults that usually check in. And
they're usually, sometimes we get in as just like, hey, I'm just trying to give you numbers here. Checking in and out.
Yep.
And we've talked a little bit about like how to keep it to kids, like sometimes some people expressed the frustration that some nets, turn into just a bunch of old guys, as they sometimes do. And they said, that's okay. But we're going to keep the topics to things that young people are interested. And so if they want to show up, and what I keep saying is they want to show up and tell us what their favorite Fortnite dance move is, they're welcome to show up and do that.
We've never
So
done
what
that
is your
topic
call
yet.
sign? What is your call sign, Emma?
KE8IKS, Kilo Echo 8 India Kilo Sierra.
Yep.
Have you got your own special phonetics for that?
Not
Not
really.
really. Not
No.
really. So
A lot of people get creative. Mine is DCC. You know what that stands for?
Digicom Cafe.
Exactly. I was really lucky to get that call sign. So, and Jim, he got his right out of the gate. No way is he going to change his call sign.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
way.
No, I've got my QSL card is a NASA photograph of Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a
That's
beautiful
awesome.
card. So you'll have to make sure you swap cards with Jim. He's got a beautiful card.
Okay.
So obviously this gets started with Dad. Wes, how long have you been a licensed ham operator?
I have been, let's see here, I would say maybe a year or two before her. Not that long, maybe 7 years or so. I can't remember. It's been a while.
I don't know. So that's his story.
What prompted it was we moved from the city up to the middle of nowhere here, and I kind of felt like I needed another method of communication, because when we first moved up here, to use our cell phone, we had to stand on the front porch, to get one bar.
Yeah. I know the problem.
I don't remember that, but I can imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was too young back then to remember.
And so I thought I got involved in that, and we kind of met a second family that way. I talked to the Aries coordinator at the time in our county, and he kind of introduced us to the CERT team up here, and so we're involved in that as well. And then at some point, I would say Emma just kind of said, "Hey, I'd like to do that too." And
I totally surprised him. He's like, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do that too." So I studied for about a year, got my license when I was 8, and you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, and I was like she said, I was really surprised. I just didn't think that my daughter would be interested in ham radio. I should have known better, but
now I'm interested in robotics and wearables. Yeah, I like being a techie.
So I mean, as a dad, I'm overjoyed because she likes a lot of the things that I like, and we get to do things together. When we kind of made it part of her homeschooling curriculum.
I'd have a routine every morning. I do my French app, and then I do a practice test. So gradually my scores started getting better, and I passed my test with like one question wrong or something like that.
We always joke because there's when she's on the link system, there's another guy who is on the system a lot, and he's her call sign neighbor. So she's IKS and he's IKT, and he always recounts his nervousness because he remembers sitting in the class with her, and she finished before he did, and there's a little bit of
intimidation. Like, wait, a little girl finished before?
Yeah. Show off.
That was kind of fun because when we showed up for the test, when we showed up for her to take the test, they kind of jokingly said, "Oh, are you here to take the test?" And we said, "Yes, she is." And then they were like, "Oh, okay, wow. Well, come on in." And so
yep, my mom also has her license, but she's kind of a little bit mic shy, so she likes to be in the background.
Yeah.
A lot. So
but
you're more like your dad than your mom then, huh?
Yeah. She likes to talk.
Bit, yeah. My mom does too, but with certain people, like family, it's like we've got a method where we just goodbyes are always hard because it's got systems. Okay, we better get going. Talk for another 30 minutes. So repeat as many times as you want.
I think for the most part, we have gotten Emma over the mic shyness. Um, for when she's talking to people she knows and feels comfortable with.
Yeah,
I have a net, so I mean, like, you kind of have to not be mic shy for that.
Uh-huh.
that's right.
She still
that's
has a
right.
little trouble. She still gets a little shy when we do if we try to do any contests on HF. Still a little bit
that's
shy.
a little bit different. It's a little different.
Emma, have you participated in any special events like field day or?
I did a while back. I don't quite remember it though.
Yeah, it's been a couple years now. Because of the pandemic has kind of
right.
Everything got canceled. This year we were planning to go out for field day, but up here in Michigan we had a really bad rash of thunderstorms, and lightning and antennas don't go together.
Which we're really glad it turned out that way, because we had another event. We thought it'd just be it was like from like 4 to 8, and so we thought it'd just be like, oh, you just stop in and do a couple things. But we ended up staying the entire time, plus a couple extra minutes. So yeah.
That was a daddy-daughter engineering the day they had our local robotics team puts on. So
yeah.
But there has been time. I remember her sitting in the van with one of the local hams who's blind, and he got her on the radio. She got to make some contacts, a few.
I think I talked to a boy maybe in Ohio.
I think it was Colorado.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah,
I don't really
we've done some field day. We've tried Kids Day a couple times. But then we've done some events. The one thing that's difficult is that in our county, there are no ham radio clubs. So all of the ham radio clubs we would have to go to a nearby county for. Yep. So
well, at least you got the yacht group to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun, hearing the different voices. It's always neat to see who's on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Now, you talk about lightning and storms. Are you involved in any Skywarn activities over there then?
We are actually. For our county, I'm actually the Aries coordinator, EC, for the county. But I actually have a guy who's a couple miles away from us. He's our Skywarn coordinator. But yeah, we go through Skywarn training through our CERT team, and then also we try to do that with the ham radio stuff too.
I've taken a little bit of Skywarn. I don't remember it.
It's been a while.
Well, very good. Well, I know you're involved in something else.
Like I said, we have a limited amount of hams in our area.
I think I'm
It
having
doesn't always happen, but we're getting there.
Sometimes the screen is freezing up and I'm probably getting behind on the conversation, so I'll have to do some editing. But I know you guys are involved in another special project. Not only do you love to enjoy radio yourself, but like you say, you want to see other young people get in the hobby. So you've started yourself a special YouTube channel, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Yep.
Do you want to tell about it?
So it's a technicians level YouTube channel. It's called Ham Radio with Emma. And we go through the basic. It's not like Ham in a Day where we just tell you the answers, but it's more like you learn, and then there's a hands-on portion, and then there's a quiz time. So you learn, and then you watch us do some stuff hands-on, and then we answer the questions on the actual technicians tests questions.
At one point, it dawned on me that I thought, well, if I could explain all this to an 8-year-old, we could make a video and put the same kind of instructions into a video, and then maybe more kids could see that and learn from it.
And he's even made it more kid friendly with little images and such.
So we try to aim for the elementary age in the videos.
Basically 8 to 12, kind of the range of
Yeah, but I
While
figure
I've had my license.
if I'm sure that adults could probably benefit from
Oh
it too.
yeah.
So we're just getting back into it. We kind of took a little detour because we built
Built
the
this,
tree
yeah.
house because
Ah.
we don't have a very large house, and so our first filming location was in our root cellar. And so if you could see behind the curtain, literally on the videos, you would see a whole wall full of canned goods, jars, because my wife loves to can, and you would see a whole shelves and shelves full of beans and peas.
But
And
she wanted it back, so we built the tree house so that we could record video.
yep. And
Wow.
there's just some problems with trying to record down there, and so when we thought about the idea about building the treehouse, we thought that would be a great location to film.
And
So
it's a fun place to hang out too. So.
Yeah.
So now we're
So,
just
so is
back
the
in
treehouse your
in the-
ham shack now too?
Not yet.
We don't have a setup here yet.
Okay.
Just a mobile radio would be fine in here. I don't need a huge setup.
Yep. But yeah, we could do that. We definitely have the room, the space.
Yeah.
So
It's a 10 by 10, so
I watched your most recent video, and your graphics are improving. You're getting better with every episode.
yeah.
Very
That one
excellent.
of the things that's difficult about it is I'm not necessarily the greatest artist. And so I have to kind of rely on what I can find as far as, freely available.
and
art.
I'm not a great artist either. I do some vector drawings, but they're kind of shapy, blocky.
Mhm.
So they're cute, but they're not really good for the videos.
Now, this past summer, not the about almost a year ago now, we did get a chance to do a class in a park. So during the pandemic, we had a group of homeschoolers where we kind of met in a pavilion in a local park outside, and so hopefully we'll get a chance to kind of incorporate some of the like the hands-on things that we did with them, because I tried to incorporate something that they could get their hands on every single time, because that was what they really enjoyed about the whole
We did have
thing.
to stop because it was getting cold.
Yeah.
So last session we had, we were just snuggled in blankets. I wore the wrong coat, and that was not a good decision.
But it was kind of fun. There's some different things we got them to build. Electromagnets. Let's see, we did some
LEDs.
LED circuits that we did. At one point, I hid a fox in the park.
That went over well, but the fox didn't survive.
Yeah, the fox was a electronic thing I had built like a couple days before, and the girl who found it, she came back shaking it like this. I'm like, oh, that's not going to survive.
She had her hand like this, and she was just running. It's like, okay, guess we're not doing another fox hunt.
Fun.
But
What
as we go
motivated
along,
you to homeschool?
what's that?
What motivated you to homeschool? What was it that moved you in that direction?
Actually, it was Emma that kind of triggered that, and Emma getting in trouble in school. So
Yeah.
my wife noticed a pattern that every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, she would find out that she had to stay in for recess at school and for talking. We couldn't figure out why there was this pattern. And we finally discovered that Mondays, Tuesdays, and maybe Wednesdays is when they would always present the new things to learn, new concepts, new things like that. And then by Thursday and Friday,
I'm like, okay, I know this stuff. Stop making me review it.
she got bored and she ended up talking to her neighbor, and she ended up having to stay in her school. So we decided that, if we go to a homeschooling kind of curriculum, then when she gets bored with something, we just move on to the next thing, and then we keep going.
It's worked really well so far.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a defined, that is, does Michigan define a curriculum, or do you find your own curriculum, or how does that work?
We basically, mommy just I go, I'm done with the book, mommy buys me another one. It could be any brand, it could be any book. We've even got some books from Canada.
Yeah.
So
We're fairly free form there. I know a lot of Michigan doesn't really have a lot of rules around that or regulations, which is a nice thing. Some people in the area do very strict curriculum that follow a specific thing. We don't. We tend to go where her interests take us.
I have some subjects that are lower, like I will admit my French is lower. But I have Daddy around, so he can help me translate sometimes. But I have other subjects that are way higher in class, like I have like a high school physical science and chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I only do those once a week, and they're not my favorite, but I still do them. So.
Yep. So when we get done with the subject, we just kind of keep on moving. So
mommy goes, okay, yeah. Amazon, let's find another one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jim, being an educator, I suppose you have some concerns about homeschool versus the public education system, huh?
No, not really. In fact,
good.
One of my granddaughters has elected to be homeschooled next year. So I'm completely open to all forms of education. I'm just curious about, well, in fact, you mentioned early on that studying for and getting the technician license was part of the curriculum. What other areas of the homeschooling that you're doing relates to ham radio in one way or another, circuit building or what have you? In other words, has it gone well beyond studying for the technician license?
So it's not really in my curriculum. I tend to just do it on the side. So like, I come up with an idea, like my latest idea is a glowing bracelet. And so I tinker around, and if I can't figure it out, I go to Daddy and he helps me. And
I think as she gets older, we will probably incorporate more. Some of the topics in ham radio sometimes require a certain amount of math skills. Mm-hmm. So as she gets
working on my math skills, I'm a little bit heavy in math.
So, for example, as we get into trig, for example, we'll be doing a lot of work with, sine waves and that kind of thing. And so that's where we can bring in wave theory and all of these things that make it fun and do some interesting things there. So, and I have to admit that when we run into a topic that, maybe we don't know, my wife,
we learn it together. Like, if I don't know it and they don't know it, well, usually if I don't know it, I check them first. And if they don't know it, then we all learn together.
Right. So if I'm a little rusty on my trig, or if I'm a little rusty on algebra, then we just all learn it together and go from there. And there's a lot of amazing resources.
Like one of our favorites is Khan Academy. It's like, well, we're having trouble with this. Let's look on Khan Academy. Let's see what they've got.
Yep. So Sal from Khan Academy, he teaches us a lot.
It's like, let's see. Sal to the rescue.
Yep.
Well, plus you learn a lot about geography and cultures around the world. Once you get into HF, start meeting a lot of these people and young people from around the world. You can ask a lot of questions of each other about what's it like living in whatever part of the world you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about, we have her go year round. She doesn't take a summer break.
I don't have the summer slump. I just go all year round. Usually though, I get a lighter load in the summertime. So, cause it's appropriate, because usually I'm doing more outside stuff. Like maybe I'm helping weed the garden or something, or I'm just having fun outside in the sprinkler. I don't want to be stuck inside doing schoolwork past noon. I'm usually not anyway, but like right now, I think it took me like, I don't know, not past noon, I know.
And then with it,
what do you do for a living?
What do I do? I am currently I'm in cybersecurity. So I have been a software developer over the years, and that took me over into cybersecurity. So I do that as a main job, and then I develop software on the side too. So
yep, like he has a chicken app he designed. It's called Mother Hen.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's right.
I won't disclose too much facts, but he is working on an APRS software app.
Oh yeah, yep. That's I kind of set myself a goal, and we'll see how far I can get with it. But I'm a big Macintosh guy, and
All right.
Yeah. You hear that, Jim?
I don't have a Mac because it's too expensive, but I do have a Linux machine, so no
Actually,
Windows in this family.
You are really surprising me. My son is a software developer as well, and he is anti-Mac because Mac ties everything up, and you're unusual to be a Mac person and an IT guy.
Well, these days it's changing a little bit. If you go to developer conferences, you'll see MacBooks everywhere now, but that hasn't always been that way. But one of the things is being a Mac guy in the ham radio world can be a challenge sometimes.
Yes.
Lots of Windows stuff.
A lot of programs.
My computer can be booted into Windows. It's mostly Linux though. I go, okay, if you need Windows, let me know. But
so I just discovered something you might be interested in, Emma, and it's called Build a Pi. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Some guy in Kentucky or Tennessee is kind of self-taught Linux guy that's put together virtually everything you'd want to do in ham radio. He's got it so that it's on a Raspberry Pi, and then you can control your rig with it. And this is very convenient for people who go battery operated portable, because part of the package of the Raspberry Pi is a hotspot for whatever you want to connect to your transceiver with, like a Android tablet or an iPhone or an iPad or whatever you have. By the way, do you have an iPad, for example?
I do.
She does.
I don't have a phone, but I do have an iPad.
So one of the pieces of software you might want to explore for creating your own graphics is Procreate.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Procreate. It's very inexpensive and very powerful.
And Emma, if you like Linux, you would love working with a Raspberry Pi.
You would.
Very, very well used in the ham radio.
We were just looking the other day at a robot thing that uses a Raspberry Pi as the main brain. So
we've got a couple of them around here, Raspberry Pis. We have one that's running our DVR system, records TV, and that's also like the weather system. And then we have another one that runs home automation system. So
and then we have another one in the root cellar.
That's the one in the root cellar. That's the home automation system. There's one also. There's an Arduino that's running the chicken coop. So
yeah, we have an automated chicken coop, by the way.
So
how many chickens have you got?
12.
Yep.
Oh wow, we've got 18.
Okay.
We used to have 20 a couple years ago, but predators have kind of picked them off one by one.
Do you guys butcher? Do you guys butcher your own chickens?
We have in the past.
Yeah, but not these because they're still laying. Sort of. We haven't found the hens that haven't been laying.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that
sounds like your lifestyle is very similar to ours here, up on the hill in the Ozarks.
Yeah, we have kind of a mix of I call it like modern homesteading. So kind of
Automated chicken coop.
it's like a homestead flair with a bunch of technology thrown in.
Yep.
So,
I love
so
it.
it's kind of fun.
Well, we can do screen sharing here on Zoom. Would you like to share a little bit of your most recent video?
Let's see here. Most recent video. What would you like to see on that?
I think it was one that you put up about 3 days ago. And just
Okay.
tell us a little bit about the process of how you put it together, how much time it takes.
You could also see the one I'm editing currently if you want.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Just share your screen and give us a little experience of what it's like working with you.
Be sure and check the little box to include sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do that in a minute.
Plus, I don't know if you noticed, Jim, you can see the reflection in the window, so we can see ourselves at the window behind us.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sure enough.
Yeah.
I should have combed my hair.
It's kind of like you when you shared your picture with me today, Jim, and I could see all your other things reflecting off the glass.
Okay, hopefully I gotta do something here. Let's try this again.
By the way, I turned my recording off. It just wasn't working. I actually crashed and logged out for a second in the middle. So I'm going to rely on your copy at the college there, Jim.
Yep, it'll work.
Okay, I gotta just set a few preferences here because I'm on a Mac and it wants to
Oh,
make sure that
DaVinci Resolve. Wonderful.
Oh, you can see it. Okay, there we go. DaVinci Resolve is what I use.
Yep.
Generally, what we do is we record everything. I've been using open broadcasting to record, and then we generally have an intro.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I like ham radio. Today we're going to learn how to work with big and small numbers when we're measuring electricity. That's our intro. That's our signature flower.
I love it.
And then our previous video, usually, as Emma said, our videos are in 3 parts typically. Now this one is a little bit different than the normal formula because
we're smashing hands-on and quiz time together. So it's hands-on quiz time.
So usually there's a lesson that's,
That's right now.
Yep.
This is the lesson.
And we'll go through and we talk, in this case, we're talking about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, we're talking about prefixes for.
It's called big and small numbers.
Yep. So we cover metric prefixes. Let's see if I can scrub ahead a little bit and give you a little taste of what we're talking about. The things that are on the test. We got watts, kilovolts, kilograms, kilometers. And then we kind of go into how you do the prefixes and stuff. We use it even less than deca, but it's hecto and it means 100.
He does all.
We already talked about the next step, a 1 with 3 zeros after it. What's that?
Kilo.
Right. Now, after 3 places, we start jumping by 3s. So I'll give you a little taste. And then after the lesson portion of it,
which is usually where the majority of the video is.
We'll jump
between lesson and hands-on. Oh, that's our.
This is our mnemonic for remembering. The great merciful king hates dogs because dogs constantly make messes, which is tera, giga, mega, kilo, hecto, deca, the base number, deci, centi, milli, and micro.
Or you can come up with your own.
So we'll go through here a minute. And now what we did for this one is because there's not a lot of hands-on directly with numbers. So we combined our second and third segments. Our second segment is usually a hands-on segment where we do something, if we can,
like usually
with
we
the
have
concept.
a little camera that goes down on a tray, and then we do our.
Yep.
Sometimes it's like one time we hooked up. Well, one time we were exploring circuits, and we had big snap circuits. It's nice and easy to see. It's just got like little snaps so you snap on and off. We were describing how the circuit goes. So pretty neat.
And then usually at the end of each video, we have a segment that is the test questions. It's called quiz time. That's where we take the questions directly from the technician's test. And let me zoom this a little bit so we don't have to go so much here. So this time though, because it's all number based, we decided to combine hands-on and quiz time into something we call hands-on quiz time.
Get hands-on quiz time! We combined the two intros.
And so then what we do with this is we kind of work out some of the math on a whiteboard.
All right, so welcome to hands-on quiz time. And
skip ahead to, we're going to start with questions.
A couple questions. So the first question from the test is, how many milliamperes is 1.5 amperes? So let's start by writing the number down.
Right, one.
So
I couldn't find my black marker, so I just used
Okay.
purple the entire.
Now we
Excuse
want.
my handwriting; it's not the best.
So yeah, that's kind of our process. These questions usually in quiz time, you'll see the reference at the bottom corner of each of the questions, and then we go through them. Most of the time, we do them right straight from the test. Occasionally, we'll omit some if they're just repetition, especially if they're like a lot of the same kind of math problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Ohm's law questions on the test. So once you know Ohm's law, you can do pretty much any of them. So
yeah.
Our next segments here are going to be on electronics. We kind of have an overall plan. We're starting with electrical theory, then we go into electronics, and then we'll go into all sorts of things.
I don't even remember what we're gonna do, but I do remember the electrical theory and the electronics components.
Yep. So the first segment, the lesson part of it, is scripted. We have a script that I write for that.
Yep.
And then the second part, the hands-on, is just as we go, you know.
You can tell because we accidentally talk over each other.
Yeah.
We don't tend to do that in the script.
Yep. And then obviously in the quiz time, we narrate the questions, and then Emma gets a shot at answering them. And usually by the time she's gone through recording the lessons, she gets the answers pretty much always right, because a lot of times she's recording and she hasn't seen them yet. Because obviously I've seen them, I've kind of prepared them and slides and stuff like that. But
I haven't seen the answers yet, so it's a fair shot whether I get it right or get it wrong. So usually I get it right though. So if I get it wrong, he's like, "Are you sure?" And then I redo the math.
If she gets it wrong, we work through it.
Yep.
So.
Go ahead and turn your screen sharing off there.
Okay, let me do
so we can see you guys again.
Okay.
There you go.
So there's a lot of background preparation for one of those episodes. So
yeah,
it takes a long time, and that's why we're a little bit slower than I would like to be.
Yeah, so it'll probably take us a year or more to do all our videos.
Yep.
So. But that's okay.
Yeah, but then they'll be out there forever for everybody to use, and you'll be able to help a lot of young people get into the hobby, plus provide some wonderful materials for homeschoolers using something that's useful, you know, to learn some of the stuff like math and whatnot. That's wonderful.
Yep. And like when we were doing the homeschooling class in the park, I know when
it was rushed.
There was another couple hams there doing it with us, and they kind of wondered why I wasn't going through the test specifically. Like, I didn't spend a lot of time, like, here are the questions, you need to learn the questions and all that kind of stuff.
Because if they didn't end up taking the test and they just wanted to learn about ham radio, they just go, okay, that's cool. Okay, now I have all these questions memorized, but I didn't learn anything. But this is like, even if you don't take the test, then
Yeah.
you've learned so much more about ham radio
I think they
and
walked away.
electronics.
I think they walked
Yeah.
away with some little bit of knowledge in electricity, some things that they didn't know before, some things about radio that they didn't know before, and just some general knowledge
Yeah,
and concepts.
we had some real fun experiments. I can remember very clearly the gummy bear wave. We made a wave with skewer sticks with gummy bears on both ends, and then it was just attached to this long piece of duct tape, and we just. But the worst part was at the end when everyone was just free for alling the gummy bears. So whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we get to waves in our video series, we'll definitely include the gummy bear wave generator in there. That was fun.
So
Yep,
this
it
this
was
is
fun.
a really good approach because it's a knowledge-based approach rather than studying for the test
Memorization.
by memorizing the correct answer. And so you're really teaching content, not teaching the test.
Yeah, I was really affected by my father-in-law. So when my wife went to get her license, she the day that they had the test taking, they also had a ham and a day class, and so she attended it with her dad, and she had studied ahead of time, and her dad had not, and I kind of watched his eyes glaze over, and just he could not absorb the kind of material that was being thrown at him in a ham and a day class. And I looked at that and said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a slower way. And I really wanted to go after the concepts because.
So I think you will really benefit with these videos. When we actually start getting to actual ham radio stuff, because right now we're doing electricity. That's very important to know. I use electricity a lot. I like lighting LEDs. I like blinky things. I will admit it. Blinky lights.
So yeah, I think that hopefully these concepts. I also had an interesting experience with during that class that we taught in the park. I had moms asking me, okay, so what book should I buy? And I noticed that a lot of the books that you buy for ham radio tend to be kind of a cram type of book, just
Right.
here, just memorize all of these answers. And you get out of the test and you might have your license, but you don't know what you're doing yet.
Yeah,
you don't
you're
have
just
any
like,
idea.
I know the answer for this. I know the answer for this. Wait, why am
Yeah.
how do I turn on a radio? Like, how,
Yeah.
I don't know. And if I buy this brand new Bofang, how do I program it? How do I talk to people? Like,
Right.
what
And
what am I doing?
And we have friends that have gotten their license and have yet to even say anything on the radio because they passed the test, but they don't know how to turn the radio on. So I imagine that if we get to the end of the video series for the technician's test, we'll probably also hit some topics, and maybe we'll hit these topics along the way, I don't know, but hit some topics that the test doesn't talk about. Because there's a ton of things that are not really discussed on a technician's test. There's etiquette things,
Yeah, like there are brief mentions of like you have to give your call sign every 10 minutes or something like that. I don't remember the exact wording of the test, but I know that's what the proper etiquette. But there are things like I just learned this not too long ago. How do you deal with a round robin? So I was just throwing it out open to whoever wanted it next. I realized that I have to specifically hand it to one person, the next person in the circle, basically.
Yeah, it's a simple thing, what do you do when you're talking on a repeater to somebody and another person pops on. How do you organize that? They don't really teach you that
Right.
in the ham radio manuals. You just kind of have to learn that through experience. And I figured if we could make that a little easier along the way, that would be a good thing for overall for the hobby.
You guys are an inspiration. And I think you could attest to this idea that ham radio is a great family experience. Really brings you together, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think our second family is growing too. Our ham radio family. I know in the last, I don't know how long, most of my friends that I've talked to, I don't have any friends outside of ham radio that have gotten their license and joined ham radio. Excuse me. But I do have some people that were already in the hobby, and I was talking to them. I've talked more on the radio than I have like calling my friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that I feel comfortable as a dad. For the most part, I feel comfortable that she can get on the radio and she can talk to other hams, and I don't have to worry too much about, you know, inappropriate topics. I don't have, as a general rule, our experience with ham radio has been people are
overly nice.
They're great, you know.
They're amazing.
I mean, I know that there are grumpy people out there on the air, but
I haven't met a single ham. It's like if you stutter, and being a net control on my net, it's like sometimes I feel bad. Like, can you please repeat your call sign? But most of them don't think a thing of it. They're just like, yeah, sure, I want to check in, so I will give you my call sign again. They're not like, I shouldn't have to give my call sign again. You should know it. They just deal with it.
So we've been really thankful for the hobby, for our family, and just even through the pandemic where, you know, we weren't doing a lot of things in person, being able for her to talk to people on the radio. Like she said, she's talked to more people on the radio these days than like texting, or I mean, we don't really let her do a lot lot social
all my
media
friends have
texting.
Androids. I have a tablet, so can't really cross communication.
And there's this funny thing I found with her generation that they have forgotten that the telephone exists.
You keep saying this. I did.
It's not just you. It's your friends. You also, you know.
But you're still going off of. I called one of my friends one time, and it was really staticky. I was having a really hard time hearing her. And I was figuring, well, with video, at least you can see that the video is going. But on the phone, it's just kind of like, what was that? I didn't catch that. And you're like turning the volume all the way up. So that's just why I'm deterred away from it. It's not just because I'm like, no phone, but
Jim, your granddaughter needs to see this.
Well, I sent her an email earlier today mentioning that it would be forthcoming.
Okay.
Very good. Well, you guys are a treat. You're an inspiration. I love what you're doing. Keep it up. I know it's a lot of work, but I think over the long haul, like you say, if you look at the end game of what you're trying to do, once these videos are done, they'll be out there for future generations to listen to and to watch and to learn from.
And hopefully my friends
Emma, you're a great communicator. I can't wait to talk to you on the YACHT coming up here. And I know Captain Ed is anxiously awaiting this interview. He's the one that told me I needed to talk to you guys.
Yep. It's been fun to kind of meet some people through YACHT as well.
Yeah.
It's been a neat thing to get connected. And
so Emma, do you have any final words for young people your age? Why should they get interested in ham radio? What's the coolest thing about it?
I need more friends to talk to. I need more young people. I need more kids to talk to. And I feel like I have to start this thing like, well, if you get your license, you can talk to me. And then if your friend realizes that you have your license, it starts this chain of like all the friends be like, well, I want my license so I can talk to you. And then so all these friends start. So your friend has a friend that has another friend, and it's just this chain of friends wanting to talk to each other on the radio. I think ham radio is a dying hobby, but we have to reignite that fire because it's an obscure hobby. Not many people know about it, I don't think.
But if
times have changed. This is the generation of small technology like cell phones and things. So who's interested in radio? I can do it all with my phone. So
yeah.
Well, one of the things
I
I've
think
always
Jim
said
would agree
is,
with me. Who wouldn't want to talk to Emma?
one of the challenges I've seen in ham radio is that something that used to be amazing has gotten a lot smaller now, right? So at a certain time, to be able to tell somebody that I can pick up a radio and I can talk to somebody in Japan, right? That used to be something really amazing. With the advent of internet and cell phones, to be able to talk to somebody in Japan suddenly isn't that amazing anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
The nice thing about radio is you can't just randomly pick up the phone and have anyone call you, or like they have to know your number. In ham radio, it's just like, hey, I'm on, so I'm going to talk to you. So it's just a random conversation all the time.
Yeah. Very good. Jim, you got any last questions for him?
Well, I think you're both just delightful. I love what you're doing. When you put all this time into making an educational episode, you really operating as a megaphone. Your influence spreads from the time you put in to make the production. Lots and lots of people are going to see it over time. And I just have been totally delighted in meeting you and talking with you, and have appreciated this conversation. So 7 threes for me.
Well, thanks guys for joining us. We love having you here in the cafe. Feel free to join us anytime. You can find us on Telegram. If you, in fact, we have a voice channel on Telegram, which now also has video added.
Okay.
In fact, usually I record my audio podcast right up there in our Cafecast voice chat deal. And you can get to it by just going to my call sign, k5dcc.com, or go to my website, digicomcafe.com, which is a Facebook alternative. Probably a much safer environment than Facebook. I don't know if you visited yet or not, but we'd love to have you join, and love to have you share your videos there and help bring some young people in there too, Emma.
Yeah.